hurt somebody. And some of the things that call out here, living as a sacrifice, it's a reminder at times that we think we're doing our best, we'll say some really dumb things, do dumb things. And the key part of the phrase here in verse 3, but think with a sober judgment. Now, we do a lot of different ministries, which include alcohol, so you read this, does this mean making sure you're not a drunk? So yes, that's important, but it's reminding us how anything can mess with your mind, what you say and what you speak. It's not just substances, emotions, feelings, wants, desires. All those things can lead you to say really stupid and hurtful things. What does Paul say? Yourself more highly than you ought to think. Talk about looking yourself in a mirror and just seeing, because again, you might be seeing right now, everything you've done this week, right now in your life, is going great, you're serving, and you're doing wonderful. And I'm glad to hear that. But if there's a struggle there in your life, and to see that, calling that out, it's a reminder that we all don't meet this perfect need. So the question is, if God says we're supposed to be perfect, we're supposed to be good, we're supposed to be acceptable, how do we live up to this? Well, if you have your hand out, there's another reading I want to take a look at. It's from Hebrews 10. Now, the chapter of Hebrews 10 is a beautiful chapter looking at what does it mean when we say Christ died. But the excerpt I'm going to bring out to here is what Paul, the writer of Hebrews, has to say. And by the will we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once and for all. That word sanctified, holy, set apart. Not because something that you did, not because you lived a perfect life, not because you gave your life to say, Lord, here's my life song, right? Here's what I've done to show you that I deserve your love. Through his offering of Jesus Christ, and every priest that stands daily at his service, honoring repeatedly the same sacrifice, can never take away any sins. A reminder that even the holy guys, with all the things that they do not match Christ's gift on the cross, his body, his death. But when Christ was offered for all time for a single sacrifice of sins, he sat down at the right hand of God, waiting for that time until the enemy should be made a footstool to his feet. For by a single offering, he has perfected all time those who are being sanctified. So as you look in the mirror, as you think about your life right now, and you look at all the ways that we have these struggles, these hurts, trying to live a perfect life, the answer is we can't. We don't. But God sent his son to take on that hurt, that brokenness. That's why we talk about dying on the cross, because it's a reminder that that is the ultimate gift of God saying, you are holy. You deserve to be called a child of God, not because you've earned it, and certainly not because of all the dumb mistakes you've done, because the love of God covers it all. And it's easy to hear that and get excited and think, sweet, then everything's good. We still have a part to now share that love with others in our lives, to go out there and help people experience. Because if we don't, we create what's known as cheap grace, ignoring what God has done, the sacrifice that was given. So knowing now that we are his child of God, knowing that he is willing to die for you, for me, for all of us, what do we do about it? Well, that's the last part of our message here. As we leave here today, Paul encourages us to then do something about it. So let's take a look. Back to Romans chapter 12. For as one body, we have many members, and of all those members do not all have the same function. What's he saying now? Though we are to be perfect, each and every one of you is made differently. God has a purpose differently. Alex, you are made differently than I. And God has a purpose for you and for us. And the whole point was for the whole body to come together. So why now? Well, having these gifts, this is verse 6, that differ according to the grace given to us, let us use them. Which is interesting because something happened this week. For prophecy, for service, to extort, and in exhortation, one who contributes in generosity, who leads, acts of mercy, cheerfulness. These are all different ways. There's many more of us coming together to help restore and serve people in our life. If we keep reading, to love, hold fast the good, don't be lazy, show affection, rejoice, be patient, be constant. If you keep reading the rest of 12, you'll hear even more things. I told you there was 2 convictions. The second conviction I had this week, I went up to Austin for a trip with a whole bunch of pastors. And you probably know this because I invite you and I ask you, hey, would you like to help volunteer? Actually, Brooke's probably the one looking for people and asking you. Reading, ushering, guests, being a part of the church. What I was confronted by is, as the leader of the church, I get so focused on how are people helping the church, I forget to ask the question, how am I helping people in their life? Because what Paul here is not saying you're supposed to do these things in church on Sunday. These are all different ways of living our life with those around us daily. To love them, show hospitality, to be there, to serve them, be around them. So in your handout, I have a little link there that we've done this about almost once a year as a reminder of how if you don't know what your spiritual gifts are, to learn about them. The reason why I'm sharing this with you today is not so that I can call you 2 weeks from now to say, hey, I see Lake Hospitality, I need you to host the next guys gathering. That might happen. I want to do this with you to have a conversation of what are gifts that you can use with the people in your life. People that are hurting, people that are broken, that are experiencing things. How can you use those gifts for them? And I want to empower you and encourage you just as Paul's doing the same to the Roman church. Because we know that we at times are struggling. I'm guessing we know some friends and family that are too. And our job is to come together and help people experience it. Do I hope someday you might invite somebody to church? Sure. But my first hope is the gifts that God has given you is used to love on that person, encourage that person, and be there with them. So I invite you, if you have never done that, use that link and learn more about that. And I'd love to have that conversation with you. So as I leave here today, I have some encouragements for you. What is the Holy Spirit speaking through you through the Word today? I want you to take time to think about that. Pause on that, on those readings. It might be like with me right now, where I'm a little confronted with some of the things I've said and done. It might be, you might be asking the question, man, there are these different gifts that are available. How can I use them? I want you to take time to think about that. How do you seek your identity? It might be the Texan wearing boots. It might be the one with Buc-ee's or Salt Life in the back of your truck. But what is that in your life? And ask the question, is that an identity that I want people to see and experience? Or is that something that I just want to be myself? Are there times you don't live up to the expectations? That kind of goes back on that self-reflection side there. And again, you might be at a point right now where things are going great and doing well, and I'm excited to hear that. But if you're at a point that you know what, hey, Lord, I need you, that's the best time to be in prayer. No, that's actually a good place to be in our conversations. What gifts are being used by the Holy Spirit? Looking at who you are, what's going on, those things that you have. We've been singing these songs, looking at how we share our life for God. We're doing that because, as Paul makes a point, God gives us gifts, and they're all different to experience with people. So what is your gift? I want to remind you, you are holy. You are forgiven. You are perfected in the death and resurrection of Jesus. And that is something we need to hear daily, hourly. And how can we at Southlake be praying for you? And that might be a conversation with me. That might be you sending on the email, letting us know. We are here to be with you on your journey, your relationship with Jesus.